们接下来想聊一下这个中国法院的判决在意大利的承认和执行的一个流程问题。Okay, Paula, can you
Yeah.
hear me?
Yeah. Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
okay. I know that you've handled cases of recognition and enforcement of Chinese judgment in Italy. So would you please introduce the general process of applying for recognition and enforcement of a Chinese judgment in Italy? And how long does it take to complete such kind of case in general?
Okay, thank you. The most important starting point is, as you just said, the treaty. There is a treaty between Italy and China, and the Italian law has been devised in line with this treaty. And the key point of this treaty between Italy and China is that a judgment issued in China is effective in Italy. Okay? It's not that when you ask for recognition of this judgment in Italy, you have to go again to a court and ask to do a then trial. It's the same judgment that has been issued in China, which is effective in Italy. And the application to the Italian judge is only to verify whether the few conditions stipulated in the treaty have been met. And these conditions are based on some fundamental principles, such as the defendant could defend itself, there is a judgment in China. These are the key points. So when a Chinese judgment is recognized in Italy, we apply for recognition to the court where the judgment has to be enforced, and we go to ask to the court exclusively to verify whether the requisites stipulated in the treaty are met. So we apply by providing the judgment, of course, legalized and notarized, as well as translated. And we prove that the defendant attended the process, the lawsuit. It was part of the lawsuit and could defend itself. So these are the key aspects, the key documents that we have to prove in court in Italy. And these are the only aspects that the Italian judge checks. And it is possible for the counterpart to raise an objection, so to oppose this recognition. But also the opposition of the defendant must be based exclusively on these principles. So the defendant will attend the Italian lawsuit only to say there is no judgment. But of course, if we submitted a legalized and notarized judgment, this kind of exception does not hold. And he will try to say the translation is not correct or the judgment is not final. These are the only contents of the lawsuit, the only contents of the judgment that can be on which the defendant may raise an objection. If under these aspects there is no objection that the judge consider to accept, then the judgment will be recognized. So this is a key point. It's just a formal matter. It's not a substantive matter concerning the Chinese judgment. In terms of timing, this very much depends on the Italian court where we need to apply for recognition. Because if the court is a very efficient court, timing will be shorter. If we go, for example, in Rome, is a little bit longer because the workload of the court is quite significant, is material. From the day we file an application, since the court has fixed a hearing, there is only one hearing. In that case, the court might fix that hearing between 3 months and 5 months from the application date. And if the defendant does not rise in a position, then in around 6 months, the procedure ends. If the defendant rises in a position, then it can take approximately 1 year. Sometimes shorter timing, sometimes longer timing, depending on the court.